When you open any Acuitas data entry file, you may see a pop-up box, such as this one, that reflects the fact that some of the cells in the form have been extracted from other documents. Click on the Don't Update button to prevent errors in the form. The Acuitas platform uses data input forms to make it easier for Optum to supply data and information needed to run the simulations and analysis. All of these data input forms have the same general look and feel and follow the same general data input procedures that will be covered in this general tutorial video. We will use the project scope data input form, the first form required in milestone 1 of the Phoenix Community Project, to illustrate the common aspects of all of these forms. The number of screens. Each data input form consists of 3 screens. The home screen. This is the screen which is currently being viewed and which controls navigation within the data input form. It also controls screen formats. Specific data input form. Optum uses this screen to input the required data for the form. And customization. This screen controls the names and choices used in pull-down menus in the data input form. Screen format. In the top left-hand corner of the home screen are 2 control buttons that determine the form layout of all of the screens in the data input form, the Transform and the Restore buttons. Clicking on the Transform button eliminates from the screen all of the controls available within an Excel spreadsheet, as well as column and row headings, and expands the screen to full size available on your computer. This is the normal format used in filling out the form. Clicking on the Restore button restores all the screens to their original Excel formats. We will move forward with the rest of this tutorial in the Transform mode. Navigation. Navigation amongst the 3 screens is done through the use of navigation buttons that display the name of the screen to which you want to go. In the upper left-hand corner of the home screen is the Customization button. Clicking on this button takes you to the Customization home screen. This is the Customization home screen. We will discuss the functionality of this screen later on in this tutorial. Clicking on the home screen navigation button in the upper left-hand corner of the first table in the Customization screen returns us to the home screen. The box just below the Acuitas data input form icon displays the name of the milestone for which the data input form is required to be completed. In this example, we can see the project scope data input form is required to be completed for milestone 1, the kickoff meeting. Clicking on the navigation button Project Scope takes us to the screen where Optum inputs the data required in this demo to complete the scope of the project. This is the Project Scope screen. We can return to the home screen by clicking on the home screen navigation button in the upper left-hand corner of the Project Scope screen. Each data input form provides a description and overview of the data requirements for that form within the comment box with the name of the input form at the top of the screen and just below the Acuitas data input form title. A complete description of the comment box functionality will be found in the discussion of context-sensitive help in the Project Scope data input screen. For now, we will demo how, by placing the cursor over this cell, this overview and description is automatically displayed. The last element of the home screen is the access on the web to this general tutorial by clicking on the dark green General Tutorial Navigation button just below the Customization Navigation button. The General Navigation tutorial is stored on the acuitasdss.com website and can be accessed by clicking on this General Tutorial Navigation button on the home screen on all data input forms. Let's get into the heart of the data input forms, the data inputs themselves, by clicking on the Project Scope Navigation button. First, we'll talk about form-specific tutorials. Each data input form also provides access to a tutorial that deals with the specifics of that data input form, the areas not covered in this general tutorial. Next, These form-specific tutorials are also located on the acuitasdss.com website. Context-sensitive help. Whenever you see a red triangle in the upper right-hand corner of a cell, you can access descriptions and related perspectives about the meaning of that cell in the comment box. We have already demoed part of this functionality on the home screen with the description of the data requirements for this project scope data input form. Comment boxes are displayed when you mouse over the cell containing this red triangle and stay displayed as long as your cursor stays on the cell. In this example, we are displaying the comment for the cell named current date. You can make the comment box stay displayed even if you move off the cell by right-hand clicking on the mouse when the cursor is on the cell and selecting Edit Comment. The comment box will disappear when you right-hand click on the Hide Comment. Data input form status. The two tables at the top of the screen display the current status of the data input form. The current date is automatically calculated by the model each time the form is opened using the Excel function called Now. The target Optum completion date. This information is automatically preloaded from the critical path form that displays all of the Optum agreed to responsibilities and completion dates for all of the activities of the Phoenix Community Project. Days to complete. The form automatically calculates what to display in this box based on A, the form not yet complete. Then it calculates the number of days remaining to complete the form as the difference between the target Optum completion date and the current date. This will be a negative number if the current date is already past the Optum target completion date. As we can see, since no date completed had yet been supplied, that the form has calculated that there are 6 days remaining to complete the form. Or, if the form is complete, the word complete is displayed when the date completed form is filled in with the date completed. The form uses color coding defined in the color coding legend table to highlight the status when the form has not yet been complete. Date completed. Optum inputs the date at which this form is complete and leave the date blank until the entire form is complete. The format to be used will be day/month/year. I will type in the date in this box of 05/11/2013, and we will see that the form will automatically change the days to complete from 6 days, as we see now, to replace it with the word complete. The color coding table uses colors to highlight the status of the days to completion box as it nears the Optum target date for completion. Red means that the form is already overdue and the days to completion shows up in red color. Yellow means that Optum has between 1 and 3 days to complete the form or it will become late or overdue. And green, which is what we see now, means that the Optum has at least 3 days to complete the form, so it is not yet on the critical alert path or that the form is already complete. The next two tables display responsibilities for both the company and the individual involved for the data input box form itself, as well as for the completion of the form. All of this information is automatically downloaded from the same critical path form that was the source of the target Optum completion date previously discussed. The next section is the form's Optum data input explanation. This section describes the different ways that Optum can provide the required data input. The form is designed to provide Optum with an example of the type and form of the data required in all instances, from a predefined set of pull-down menu choices originally located in the customization screen. The form then preloads into the Optum pull-down menu data selection cell for this data the same choice that is displayed in the example cell. This enables Optum to choose from one of these choices or change the selection and then choose from this changed set of choices. Let's start with a description of each of these columns in the table. The data input name is the name of the data variable for which data is required from Optum. Example: from a pull-down menu of pre-populated choices, the form displays an example, which may or may not be appropriate for the Optum data input requirements. The Optum pull-down menu selection is the pull-down menu in bright green from which Optum selects the appropriate data input choice or determines that none of these predefined choices are acceptable and the customization list itself needs to be changed. The form preloads the choice from the example column into the Optum pull-down menu data selection column to minimize the time required from Optum for those cases where this example choice also turns out to be Optum's choice. We'll just scroll over a bit. Optum Comments provides Optum with the opportunity to explain or clarify their data selection choices. These comments are in free format, and as we can see, there are 3 cells provided for each data input selection. Let's just scroll back here. In the event that Optum determines that none of the predefined choices are appropriate, the best practice is to either change one or more of the existing choices or add to the existing list of choices in the customization sheet. Let's assume that Optum wants to change the name of the project, as none of the predefined names in the list of potential names is appropriate. The customization screen contains all of these predefined choices and is the screen where all of the required changes can be made. So let's go to the customization screen. All of the predefined choices, we can see examples here, are found in the column on the right-hand side of the screen in light brown color. All other information provided in this column that is not in this light brown color is locked by the system and cannot be changed except by the individual responsible for the form. In the table containing the predefined list of possible project names, let's do 2 things. First, let's change the name Community Project Phoenix to Phoenix Regional Community Project. And second, let's add a new name, Optum Winning Strategy for Phoenix. Now let's return to the Project Scope home screen and see how this changes our choices. Let's scroll down to the Optum pull-down menu data selection for the project name, and now let's check what's in here. Now when we check on the choices available to Optum in naming the project, we see that our changes have been automatically included in the updated list of choices. So now we can select Optum Winning Strategy for Phoenix as the desired name of the project. And this concludes the general tutorial on the common features and functionalities of all Acuitas data input forms.